What's up, everyone? So, for this video, I thought I would treat this a little bit differently and show you guys well, not rather than, but I would rather show you the original source video for this next segment of choreography. And the best part is that all of you have probably done it at some point. But I was kind of looking back at some old tapes, and I found this guy, and this segment of choreography I think is from the Men in Black dance that we did last year. So if you weren't in that, there's a little breakdance section that I taught the class, and I figured I'd show you where I got that material from and how I incorporated that into the dance. So there's no audio coming from this video, but I'll try and walk you through. For starters, this person in the front is BBoy Kid David. This is BBoy Luigi, and this is BBoy Venom. All three of them are part of a crew called the Renegades, and they've all got some serious B-boy chops and a lot of really cool videos to check out on YouTube. But anyway, so for starters, this is Kid David teaching a section of choreography to the other two guys, and this is kind of how it starts. So this is going to look really familiar. And I'll just let it play. You guys can watch them break down the moves, and then I'll talk about some of the things they're doing. Oh, he messed up. And he messed up on the right. Whoa, what? That's funny. Guys, let me just tell you all, professionals mess up too. Even on YouTube videos. And look at that. Look at that face. Look at that. Like, oh, I can't zoom in. I would try to, but so notice they're not all completely in sync. They all have some really jagged and unique placing of feet, placing of hands. Their styles are all so different. If you watch these guys dance on their own videos, you can really start to tell the difference. They kind of all have their own language in a way. As you'll probably recognize that. Take a note of their hands too. Look at how their hands are on the hard part of their palm rather than flat on the ground. And there they are, back on top. So, so as they break this down, I'm going to pause and kind of talk about a few things. Remember that these guys are professional dancers, and they have a lot of training. And if what I'd like you to do is to try and recreate what they were doing in the style that they are doing it. If you already know the choreography, but see if you can kind of mimic the style that each of the three dancers does. It's a good exercise for getting some variety in your movement, and it gives it a little bit of flavor that you may have not had before with the same kind of choreography. So anyway, so right there, boom. Look at the height difference for one. Venom is significantly higher than the other two. But for the most part, they all kind of have that same stance. You could get nitpicky with the arms. I guess you could say Kid David is a little bit more crossed than the others. But that might be a little extreme. You just kind of figure it out as you go. Okay? So you all know that. You could make a face like Venom if you wanted to. That's a funny way to go. So right here, lots of differences, and most of it is in the chest. So if you look at the chest and the direction that the chest is going, you have some differences between Venom, a little bit of differences here. It's probably a little bit easier to see as they do the move. Right there. So that's a spot that I think all of us kind of struggled with when we were teaching the dance. But notice how when they're moving through that turn, they are spotting. They're spotting the front of the wall, or at least they're trying to. Maybe the angle at which they're turning is pretty difficult to pull off. But I think Kid David actually did it really well. I think Venom kind of got a little tight up there, probably because he's still learning the dance. You can kind of see it in the back there. But they all turn kind of around themselves, not making the move any bigger than it needs to be, and then popping forward, right? Now look at this. This is kind of a really interesting take. Just look at the hands, for one. Like, so different right off the gate. And then the amount of chest that sticks out, the stance of the legs, where the foot is placed, how much of a bend there is in the knee. I mean, all those things, you know, it's not like that you go about and think about all of these components as you're freestyling or as you're learning choreography, but it does make a difference. It develops a style and a unique flavor, as I said before. So right there, you kind of get that kick, step, cross. So that's a move that you all have done before. Kick, step, cross. That's a really common B-boy move to implement into your dancing. That jump turn. So actually, I was kind of surprised looking back. I think we made that jump turn a little bit big, but they're just basically jumping kind of in a 180 in a way, and then pumping forward, sliding back, shuffling forward. Now look at that. Just the angle of attack in a way. These guys are pretty close. Hand on the face, hand on the chin, hand over the hat, completely turned to the side, both turning front. Yeah, lots of differences here. So then they start to go down to the floor, okay? So let's see. So right there, they're crossing the legs in the front like this, okay? And as they go down, they're getting closer to the floor, close enough that they can at least drop one hand. And they cross in the front, cross to the side again, and then pop the knee up on top. Now that pop is really important because you'll notice that they kind of sink a little bit. Once they get the knee over, they do this little bounce, and the reason they bounce like that is because they use that energy to catapult themselves over onto the next move. So they're looking ahead, using their hands to kind of propel their torso over. Okay. Notice kind of the feet situation. So this move can be a little bit scary at first because you don't want to land on your knees, but there's some techniques here. Like, look at how Luigi has his whole foot pretty much palm down in a way, and he's riding the top of his shin so that he's not making hard impact to his knee. And Venom's kind of doing the same thing, only he's not really tucking his foot under. He's probably going to end up more on the ball of his foot. Yeah, kind of like that. A little bit different here. You can see there's some change there. It's kind of hard to tell what Kid David's doing, but you get the idea from this. Okay, so then they pop back. Notice Luigi didn't even pop back. So turning around. I really like this move. It's kind of like a scorpion sort of thing. And I think Kid David's a great example. That high foot, getting it really extended up in the air. And then, of course, typical stance, back stance. So you've got the cross on the feet. Notice how their hips kind of jump up. So their hips start low, and then the hips come up so that they're taking their weight off of their legs to do the cross. And they're just holding their weight, all core muscle right here. But they're also throwing that left arm up. They're also staying on their toes. So there's a lot of things going on there. And then they cross back in, push back, and then pose. And you can smile like that because that's awesome. Here's the whole thing from top to bottom. You can kind of watch it. Let's see what they do. I wish I had music. Maybe I could sub it music. Yeah, maybe not. And freestyle. Of course, because if you're a b-boy, you really have to freestyle. So right there, that transition would be something really cool to do for that final freestyle section at the end of our dance. See how they're turning around themselves? And it's all pre-planned, but watch the eyes. Oh, you can't really see it. You can kind of see them look back, though. You can kind of get the sense there was some kind of contact made. They had definitely talked about this before they did it. So something like this would be really cool. Luigi's crazy, by the way. He has moves I haven't seen very many people do before. So, and they did it again. Venom's great too. He has that whole flare, 1990s spin, all dialed in, all fantastic. So anyway, so that's the end of the video. Now the reason I show this to you is not so that you can just go and try and bust a move and break your neck trying to make these freestyle moves happen, because we can talk about those and we can definitely work on the basics of getting to this kind of level. And there's a lot of groundwork to be laid, but it's good that you guys see this. I don't know how many of you have actually checked these three guys out or checked out this kind of style of music or of dancing, but there's a lot of cool things that are going on, a lot of strength building, a lot of just technical finesse, and a lot of endurance. I think that's one of the things about b-boy dancing that is really tough, is just the amount of endurance that you have. So what I'd say is go revisit the choreography, and what I would say is if you're going to take the time to learn this dance, maybe grab like one or two moves that look reasonable from the freestyle section and incorporate that. Start mixing some elements together, and then throw the Uptown Funk song on and just start freestyling and find a way to slip this moment of choreography in, right? You only get like maybe an 8 count at the end of the dance, but you could get some serious mileage if you just put a little bit of this into your freestyle moment, okay? Doesn't have to be crazy. And none of this is actually that extreme. Like, this is all stuff you guys can do, and you actually have done it before. So I'm encouraging you. I thought this would be cool to share with you, and it's fun to kind of look back on this and enjoy the video. So hope you guys got something out of this. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys later.